Soul Brothers Podcast presents.
You ever notice how nothing feels owned anymore? Not music, not movies, not even your time. Everything is a trial. Everything is a tier. Everything is one payment away from disappearing. We don't buy things anymore. We just maintain access. And what's wild is we don't even question it. We swipe, we tap, and we auto-renew. And somewhere in all that convenience, ownership quietly left the room. And maybe the scariest part is we adapted faster than we noticed. Because convenience feels like progress, but convenience also removes friction. And friction used to be how we decided what mattered. Saving up meant something. Waiting meant something. Choosing carefully also meant something. Now, if it's not instant, we think it's broken. And everything that comes instantly can disappear instantly also. This is the Cost of Culture Podcast, and I'm your host, Christopher. And today, we're talking about the price of premium life, what it promises, what it replaces, and what it quietly takes from us. Let's get to the show.
You are now listening to the Cost of Culture.
Welcome back to the Cost of Culture Podcast, the show where we look at past trends, hype cycles, marketing language, and just pretty much anything up and down and inside out culture related, and ask that one question nobody really wants to answer. What are we really paying for? Not just with money, but with attention, energy, peace of mind, identity, and sometimes self-worth. And my friends, this is episode 7. And if this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been rocking with the show, as usual, I appreciate you. If you want to keep this conversation going after the episode or go back and check out previous episodes, follow the Instagram at The Real Cost of Culture. Because this show was never meant to be one directional. Culture is something we all live inside of, and conversations are how we figure out what's real and what's hype. And today, we are talking about premium culture. Now, I don't mean luxury or yachts or celebrity wealth. I'm talking about that everyday premium. You know, that extra $5, that extra tier, getting the version without ads or getting the unlimited version. And I'm going to talk about how slowly basic just stopped being enough. Let's get into it. There was a time when basic meant standard, functional, reliable, normal. Now, basic feels like punishment. I mean, look around, it's every day. Basic streaming, ads, basic phone, storage problem, basic airline, no leg room, basic ticket, back of the line, basic membership, locked features. You're not choosing less, you're choosing inconvenience. And that was intentional because companies learned something powerful. They learned if basic feels uncomfortable enough, people will upgrade emotionally, not logically. And culturally, that did something bigger. It made people feel like comfort is something you earn through payment. And that's crazy. And once comfort is tied to payment, dignity slowly gets put in payment too. And once dignity gets tied with payment, comparison becomes automatic. And when you see it everywhere, like at work or on social media, or even in conversations with friends, you start hearing things like,
"Who, me? I don't do basic no more. You know I gotta get that premium version, dog."
And for the most part, it sounds small, but culturally it shifts what normal life really feels like. Because now, basic doesn't feel like neutral. Basic feels like you're falling behind. And most people don't realize when that shift happened. And it's just slowly become normal now. I'm gonna talk about it some more. Now let's really sit in this. When it comes to music, TV, your meditation apps, your fitness apps, your cloud storage, your security systems, your food delivery, just regular app software, your educational tools, your gaming apps, and even your dating apps. You're paying monthly to exist smoothly, and we normalize that so fast because subscriptions feel harmless. They feel small. $9.99 doesn't feel like a decision, and $14.99 doesn't feel like a commitment. But stack them together, and suddenly you're paying hundreds every month just to maintain your current life. And here's where it gets deeper. Subscriptions change how you think psychologically. I know I use that word all the time, but just let me cook real quick. You stop thinking about ownership and start thinking in access windows. And when your life is built on subscriptions, your stability becomes tied into income consistently. And most people live closer to instability than they realize. And that creates low-level background stress. Not panic, not crisis, just constant awareness that if income changes, your access changes. And when access changes, lifestyle changes. And culture has quietly normalized that as that's just how life is now. And before we keep it going, let's talk about Pair of Thieves, because everything else in culture feels temporary, but what you wear every day shouldn't. Pair of Thieves makes insanely comfortable essentials: socks, tees, underwear, the stuff you actually live in. No fake luxury, no overbranding, just quality materials that last and feel good whether you're at work, at home, or on the move. And the best part is, right now, listeners of the Cost of Culture podcast get 15% off their first order. Just use promo code BC-Christopher H368. That's BC-Christopher H368 for 15% off your first order at Pair of Thieves, because some upgrades are actually worth it. Let's get back to the show. Premium culture is visual now, and luxury used to be loud, but now it's quiet, and social media made calm look like success. Now people don't just want money, they want the visual language of stability, because looking stable feels safer than admitting struggle, and that's crazy. And most people are performing stability and not living it, and I'm pretty sure that could be exhausting, because now you're managing your life and your visual brand at the same time. So now I want to talk about access versus ownership, because ownership used to mean control. Now ownership feels optional, but access has rules. And if you don't own files, you don't own memories. And if you don't own platforms, you don't own audience. And if you don't own media, you don't own the experience. Access feels great until access changes, and most people don't think about that until it happens to them. And with that, premium culture creates quiet anxiety. Not a loud panic, just constant background noise. And that background noise asks you questions like, am I behind? Or why does life feel expensive when I'm stable? Because premium tiers guarantee something. They guarantee that there's always another level. And if there's always another level, you can never feel fully complete. And that's what keeps people going. That's what makes you chase that luxury dream. But what you don't see is that premium culture also runs on insecurity, on comparison, on the fear of missing out, on status performance. Average used to be normal, now average feels like failure. And that shift didn't just happen by accident, it happened because comparison drives consumption. And even though comparison drives consumption, resistance isn't rejection, it's awareness. You can live inside culture without letting culture define your worth. Not everything needs upgrading. Not everything needs monetizing. Not everything needs optimizing. Sometimes enough is powerful enough. So as I wrap this up, I just want to remind you, premium life promises ease, status, belonging, and security. But it also quietly asks for silence, compliance, constant payment, and constant comparison. So the real question isn't, how much does this cost? It's, what does this replace? And with that being said, this has been episode 7 of the Cost of Culture podcast, and I'm your host, Christopher. And if this episode hit you, follow me on my Instagram at The Real Cost of Culture. And I'll leave you with this. If everything in your life has a price tag, what's left? That's actually yours. Peace.
like, subscribe, and follow The Cost of Culture.